Hey guys, welcome back to Red Flag Racing and the 2026 season. Where the points are made up, where the points are made up, and the car reliability. Basically, a suggestion.
Seriously, we just watched a race where someone retired twice in the same afternoon. Fernando Alonso never change. We love you.
From Ferrari versus Mercedes, pit stop for to Max Verstappen's P20 to P6 redemption arc, Melbourne gave us everything.
Absolutely. So we're breaking down the full top 10. We're giving you the technical meltdowns and why Arvid Lindblad is officially the main character of the paddock. We got to give props to our only rookie of the year. All right, Riz.
Well,
Well, Fernando Alonso is always a rookie. We love our forever rookie.
exactly.
But let's talk about
Yes.
qualifying. Let's kind of talk about what was going on before the actual race day started. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest elephant that happened in the room was Max crashing in Q1. So
Dude,
apparently
that was so crazy.
it was insane to watch. I think I wasn't even
I
watching
screamed at you. We
quali.
were picking out my outfit.
Yeah. I wasn't watching quali. I was on FaceTime with Riss and she was picking out her outfit for IndyCar because she wanted to go see Indy. And we were looking at her outfit when all of a sudden she turns to her screen and she's like, Max crashed in Q1. But
Dude, it was crazy. Because I just saw dirt flying the car. I was like, what
yeah.
the
So we're already starting to kind of see the technical glitches, technical malfunctions that are going on with the cars that we did kind of see a little bit about during shakedown, during testing and everything. But it does look like the rear axle of his vehicle locked up heading into turn one, which sent
Yes.
him straight into the barriers. So unfortunately for
Literally,
that,
lock up, flying
yeah.
gravel, flying wall.
And then this poor man, it's like the amount of force that he must have been holding onto with his steering wheel. Like he came out of that car just consistently shaking his hands. So it looks like Aston
Literally
Martin,
shaking, checking, like,
yeah. It looks like Aston Martin's not going to be the only one that's going to be giving damage to drivers, unfortunately. So he did start in
yeah.
P20 for the race overall. So keep that in mind. We kind of already touched base on it in the beginning. No shows,
Exactly.
Riss. Who was a no show for qualifying?
So for qualifying, Lance Stroll and
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm looking at my notes so we get it right. Okay. So we
Yes.
have Lance Stroll and Carlos Sainz didn't make it out of the
Yes.
garage because their cars were not ready in time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just touching qualifying. We'll touch
Yeah.
race here in a little bit.
Yeah. Just
Pick it up
kind
in
of to
high
give you
gear.
a little bit of a precursor to what was the shenanigans happening before the actual race. But okay, let's
We
close
were
it out.
already
The
having
top
issues.
having a lot of issues. Carlos did post up an apology afterwards, after quali was finished, and he did say, listen, there was a lot of issues that were going on. My team really tried the best that they could, but it just wasn't enough and I couldn't get out of the garage.
Right.
Apologies. So listen, he really tried his best, but at the same time, we started kind of
But
seeing
I
a
think
little
we're going to
bit.
be seeing quite a bit of that, though, for the
Yes.
next few
Yeah,
races
I
until
think
everybody
so.
kind of gets it all worked up and worked out and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because, hello, it's not just new for us, it's new for the
New
mechanics,
for
the drivers, for
everyone.
everybody.
Everyone. Yes.
So we're going to be
Um,
seeing some things. I saw the other day that I think Lando said something as there's going to be a big crash happening, like something's going to happen. And like
I don't
we all
know.
hate to think that way, but with all these
Yeah.
new things, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. We're definitely going into the unknown territory, the uncharted territory of what's going on. We not only as fans, but as people working within the Formula One world, do not know exactly where this is all heading. Um, After Australia, we got a bunch of drivers where they were singing high praises after of all the new regulation changes of everything that's been changed up. But then we also did have a few drivers where they were all like, yeah, this is going to take us a little bit to get used to. This is not easy. Um, but let's talk about the end of qualifying. So our top three, Mercedes locked out
Yes.
with P1, P2. So we did have Russell on pole. We had Antonelli with P2. And I think the one that stunned everyone was Isaac put his Red Bull in
Yeah.
P3 for his debut with the team. So I think that was the one where we were all like,
Yes.
whoa, that's kind of nice to see. Definitely,
Which, like,
definitely an
it's not
interesting turn
like,
of events.
yes, because obviously with the whole Max issue, he probably would have been up there.
Yeah,
But at the same time, for Hajar and his debut and
yeah,
with Red Bull, I
yeah,
mean, we all knew he was capable of doing it, putting that car in a good
absolutely.
place. That's why he's in.
Absolutely.
That's why he's on Red Bull.
Yeah.
But first quality of the season to put that up there in P3,
To put P3 in
absolutely
his first
astonishing.
qualifying with Red Bull was really, really great to see.
Yes.
But I think that kind of transitions us into the chaos that ensued with race day, and the chaos started before the race even started.
Yes. Yes. Poor
Um
Oscar Piastri
that was brutal.
crashing on his way to the grid before the race
Yeah.
even started.
Yeah.
His home race, first race of the season, doesn't even get to race because he
Yeah.
crashed his car. Um what was it due to? It was due
It was
to,
so he crashed on turn 4 due to cold tires and a power surge.
yes.
So it was really, really heartbreaking to see. Oscar crashed on the reconnaissance lap, which is the lap to the grid before the race even starts. So, yeah, he was out
Yeah.
before the lights went out, which was really, really depressing to see. We did see the video of him having that radio with his engineers and his team afterwards, where they asked if he was okay, obviously, first. And we just get a poor, defeated Oscar just going, yeah, I'm okay.
And people are saying that they think he was crying and whatnot, which I
Oh,
don't
I would
blame
not doubt
him.
it. I would not doubt it. It's like with these
Like, even
drivers
if you're not,
especially,
yeah,
yeah, I think especially with these drivers when you have the opportunity to have a home race, which not all of the drivers do. Not every driver has a home race.
nope.
Um it's kind of one of those really sad things that when they're going off and they're having this race going on and they're at home, they have their home crowd going on and they see all of these people from their hometown coming to visit them, seeing them on their racetrack that they practice on. And then to have it result that way is really, really heartbreaking. So, like, my heart goes out to Oscar. It was a really, really sad thing to see.
Exactly.
Um,
I'm not even really an Oscar fan because
yeah,
hello, I'm a Lando girly, so
yeah,
that's already in itself.
yeah.
But you don't want to see that happen.
No, no.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's so
Regardless
sad.
of like how you think about it with certain drivers, it's depressing all around.
There's certain
It's
things you
depressing all
don't
around.
want to see. There's certain things it's just I think it's just hard for everybody all
Yeah.
around and the
Yeah.
team too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting off, this is how we start gaining points and everything to try and figure out for constructors and for the World Driver Championship. So for McLaren in of itself, for constructors to have that situation where they're down a driver at the very, very start of the season,
Yup.
kind of rough, especially coming back as the reigning champions of last year. Um,
Exactly.
so
Well,
definitely a
and if
little
we're
bit,
on
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, 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 go for it.
Oh, well, and if we're on like sad subjects too, I mean, with Hajar being P3, starting P3 and him DNFing on lap
Yeah,
12, he crashed out, bringing out the VSC virtual safety car,
yeah,
and that ended up what basically deciding the race in a sense.
yeah. I think after lap one, we started seeing that whole what would you call it? Like the high stakes, the high stakes
Yeah,
separations of
because
how these
well,
teams
also
were.
Australia is only 58 laps.
Exactly. So it was also really, really sad to see Hajar crash out on lap 12 after having such a great quali. So that was that was really, really hard to see. We
Yes.
did see that towards the beginning of the race. A rough crash all around. Um, I mean, same thing. It's just not only was Red Bull starting off where Max crashed out during quali, so him starting at P20. was already a blow to the team in of itself. And so there was
Yes.
kind of like that hopeful ending where Hajar is P3 for qualifying. He's going to do amazing. He's going to do so good. Um, and then it ends that way. And so then again, it's the team again relying on one driver to kind of help them get those extra points and figure stuff out.
Right.
So definitely all around a difficult situation. I think if we're talking about chaos as well, obviously before the race even started, we knew that a certain green team, Aston Martin, was going to be having issues. And there was already
Yeah.
talks about the drivers not finishing, not doing the completed race. So that was really, really interesting to see it play out because we had a whole situation of what people online are calling the zombie special with Aston
Yeah.
Martin. So we have Fernando retired on lap 13 because of vibration issues. So Fernando did retire on lap 13 because the Honda power unit was shaking so hard that it started causing what we are seeing as the beginning of those nerve damages in their hands. And so he sat in the garage for 11 laps and then he unretired and he went back out to collect data, but then he retired a second time on lap 32.
Yes, which I didn't think you could unretire from a
Yeah,
race. I thought once
that
you
was a
were out,
first for
you were
me.
out, you were done.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe they did get a little bit of leeway when it came to that because that was something that was pre talked about. That was something that didn't come out
Yes.
as a surprise to anyone. We all knew that Aston Martin was going to be having those issues overall. We did see Fernando was saying that he'd probably only make it to 25 laps. Lance was saying that he'd only make it to 15.
And Lance ended
So
up finishing the race, you know?
well, he was basically considered like not classified when it comes to the overall standings of how
Yeah.
that was.
But he
Like, here,
still
let
was in the
me
car for most of the
he
race.
was. He was in the car. But it's kind of like similar to Alonso, where he spent a lot of the race in and out of the garage, kind of turning their race weekend into like a really long, expensive test session due to the massive vibrations that were going on. So it was more so Lance was out there for quite some time. And so he would go in, he'd go out, he'd kind of get the situation monitored. But yeah, when it comes to obviously we have did not finish, did not start. So we also have NCs, which are not classified.
Right.
Um, and so Lance kind of falls within that gray zone of not classified because it's like, yes, technically he did kind of finish the race, but technically he didn't because of how often he was kind of in and out.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
So
So,
we have that.
yeah.
And then honestly, I did bring it up with Riss after we were talking about Max's crash. I am not
We all know
surprised.
Max is Max and how he's a good driver. We are not
We
surprised
the
at all
lion
by
does not
this.
question himself when it comes to standing at the last minute position. So when
Exactly.
we're talking about said lion going from P20 to P6, kind of going up those 14 spots, um were we surprised? No. Was it still cool to see and see how his brain works?
Of course.
Amazing. It was so awesome.
And if we're gonna
um
talk about
Kind of.
cool, good saves, sorry, cut you off there. Go
Oh,
ahead, finish your thought.
no, it's
Finish your
good. I
thought.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, if you know, you know. Mr. Franco Colapinto with the phenomenal save at the start of the freaking
Save
race.
of the
His
season,
reaction time,
literally. Oh,
yes. Oh
jeez.
my
It's like
god.
if you haven't seen the clip from the start, go find it absolutely right now. Like if you're watching this video, pause our video, go look that, and then come back so that way we could talk about it. Because those were not human reflexes, Risk. That was literally like a
That was
video game
like
glitch. That was like he's there, something happens, he pops out, he goes back front. Like that was insane.
an insane save. Thank God it was a save because
Yeah.
that crash would have been horrendous.
Gnarly. So
We
for
probably would
those
have seen a fat delay.
Yeah. So for those who missed it, and if you don't want to kind of log off and go and see it. So Liam Lawson's car stalled right off the line, and Franco was coming up kind of behind him at full speed from P16. And he had less than zero point 0.2 seconds to react. So he didn't just swerve, he kind of threaded that Alpine between Lawson's rear wheel and the pit wall, and he basically had inches to work with. So even George Russell and Charles Leclerc were watching the replay in the cool down room, and they're literally shouting in terror. Um, so I like
Yeah.
what do you think, Riss? Like what's like what do you think that's kind of highlighting
Um,
on this?
I don't know. I think it's like highlighting the big problem with the cars, the speed difference, the
Yeah.
turbos don't spool, the battery doesn't deploy.
Yeah.
You're basically a target on the
y-
grid. And
Yeah.
speaking of that, the lights too. They went
Yeah.
four lights went half of light. I thought I was wasted because I was in IndyCar from 8 a.m. to like 7 p.m. So when I got
Yeah.
home, all bad.
Yeah.
I barely made it through the race. And I
Yeah.
thought I was seeing things. Come to find out, no. The fifth light went on for like literally you blink and you missed it.
Yeah.
And usually it takes a second for it to kind of go. But
Yeah.
people are saying they think the FIA was like, oh, we think the drivers are like capping or whatever, lying,
Yeah.
that like this race start is bull, like, not, whatever. They're not having issues with it. But
Yeah.
the lights went to hit five, literally went four, five, gone. And
Yeah.
then the cars went. So that's why I think
Yeah.
we saw that issue with Lawson's car, and then
Yeah.
other drivers kind of just being like, "What the fuck?" But
Yeah.
some drivers are just programmed. As soon as lights are gone, you're gone.
Yeah. But with that, with the whole situation that happened, if we're talking about Colapinto and his great save, that also kind of gave us one of the biggest memes of the weekend, where there was a broadcast glitch and the FIA graphic glitched out and it actually just like it displayed Colapinto and go instead of stop and go.
Yes.
So the FIA is creating new penalties. Go call a Pinto for
Yes.
having something named after you. That is great. Um, but yeah, I think when it comes to like what's going on, especially like seeing that um like we can't diminish Colapinto. Honestly, that was a save that
That
it
was
saved both of their
such a
races.
clean
And
save.
honestly,
Uh,
he probably saved Lawson from like a massive shunt. Um but
it could have
a
been
lot of
so
drivers
bad.
are talking about that, where it's kind of leading into the talk out about why drivers, especially Lando, because Lando has kind of been the one that's been
Yes,
more
yes,
vocal about
yes.
it, about the new power units making the race starts borderline dangerous. So it's definitely something that we need to monitor out right now. But if we're talking about race starts and how they're borderline dangerous, we also have to talk about how there's that opening for race starts. And I don't know if you know where I'm going, but
I
let's talk
might.
about that really fucking cool push that Charles Leclerc did at the very start of the race.
Oh my god, yes. And then you have that freaking crazy battle between George and Leclerc. Just
Yes.
what the
It was
f-
like Leclerc took the lead from the very start, but then Mercedes was kind of winning everything when it came to the pits. So when we're talking
Yes.
about
Oh,
Hajar's crash, um, that brought out the virtual safety car. A lot of drivers were very smart and they did pit. They did go
exactly. Because if
in,
you
they
have a
changed out
safety car,
things.
you might as well pit under it.
Exactly. And so Mercedes boxed both Russell and Antonelli. But Ferrari kept both of the Ferrari drivers out. So Charles and Lewis were both kind of going out and driving around while everybody else was boxed, which in our honest opinion is a really massive strategic red flag. We did kind of see
Exactly.
like these situations happen last season where you see these virtual safety cars, you see these kind of moments that are going on. Take
I
the
think we saw a
opportunity
couple with
to pit.
McLaren last season. Like,
Absolutely.
what are you?
So
If you were not, it's it's basically like free candy at that point. What the fuck are you
exactly.
doing?
It's just like, my gosh,
Like, I
like there's
get
just
just
so
like X
much.
amount of tire wear, but and you want to see where the tires take you,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you have it, use it. And I
Yeah.
think there was even a radio or two, either Leclerc or Hamilton, basically just yelling at their
Hamilton.
engineer or
Hamilton.
whatever.
Hamilton was yelling out
Yeah,
saying that they weren't ready, yada yada. And then if we're talking
which leads
about
us into
into the next situation where
exactly
when they did want to pit,
Mr.
red
Valtteri
flag,
Bottas
Mr. Valtteri
was stuck
fucking
in the
Bottas
in the pit lane.
at the very entrance, so nobody could go in. So it was just, oh my goodness, like fucking chaos all around. So when Ferrari was finally able to pit, that caused like a really huge fucking gap in between Mercedes and Ferrari, which we did see.
Yes.
Like, listen, Charles was really trying his best. Charles was really, really trying to kind of catch up to Kimi, but it
Which
just wasn't enough.
I think Ferrari is going to be doing good, honestly,
Yeah,
because that was a beautiful start. That was it led to
absolutely.
everything like with these changes, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more head-to-head battles,
Yeah,
and I'm so here for it.
yeah. It's, I think we're going to start kind of seeing it's going to be borderline almost getting into a physical fight with the drivers at this point
Yeah,
because we're
because
seeing
we're at the end of the race, Charles and George were like
George, we're talking.
George had
Yeah.
approached Leclerc and I don't know, said something. Leclerc's mood changed so quick and it looked like he
Well,
was about to fight him.
yeah. So George was talking to Leclerc inside the garage, and Charles was making small talk, and he says, "Yeah, well, your car was fast and everything like that." And George responded back, and he's like, "Well, you weren't that slow either." Like, kind of like talking about how there was that competition from the beginning, and alluding at the whole pit fiasco that was going on. And so you
Yeah.
just see Charles' demeanor just completely change. He's like fidgeting with his race suit. Um, a lot of stuff going on. But hopefully moving forward, these teams recognize that those things need to be taken care of pretty quickly. Um, but I do really want to talk about it because if we're talking about our top 10, right? Obviously, we already talked about how it was Mercedes 1 2,
Yes.
and then followed
Crazy, you read my
by
mind
a
because I was
Ferrari
gonna
3
lead us
4.
there.
So it's a Ferrari 1 2, followed by a Mercedes 1 2, followed by Ferrari 3 4, followed by Lando at fifth, kind of rounding out those top five, followed by Max Verstappen, Oliver
Yes.
Behrman. Eighth place was Arvid
Yep.
Lindblad. Eighth place was Arvid Lindblad. Ninth was
Ah,
Gabriel Bortoleto. And 10th was Pierre Gasly. But Riz, can we literally talk
yes.
about the fact that we have a literal teenager in the top 10? Arvid Lindblad, I need you wherever the heck you are to take a bow right now because that was great to see.
Exactly.
Um,
It was beautiful. I'm actually obsessed with this.
yes,
From P9, did you see the freaking launch? Like,
so good.
hello?
He
P3
like
opening lap, literally wheel to wheel,
didn't even
didn't
blink.
blink, didn't nothing.
Nope.
Like,
And then when we're
what?
talking about the stats
Like, this kid
overall,
is good.
yeah. Then when we're talking about the stats, Mr. Arvid Lindblad is sitting at 18 years and 7 months with some change, and he just became the third youngest points scorer in the history of the sport, with not only just him being the third youngest point scorer, he's also the fourth youngest overall in the F1 history. So when we're talking about where he's sitting on the same list with Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli. So that is elite company. And not only just that, we're talking about three of the youngest point scorers in history, Max, Kimi, and Arvid, were all on the track at the same time fighting for position. Like, insane.
Yeah,
And then it's like if we keep talking about
absolutely
it,
insane.
you were talking about this in particular earlier about his defense with Max, right? And so
Yes, his
it's
defense with
just,
Max Verstappen coming through the field like a freight train.
yeah,
Basically, Lindblad had said, "Nope, not today." Made the four-time world champion work for every single inch and part of that track.
yep. And so
Absolutely insane.
like we're talking about he finished P8. He got his 4 points. He out qualified his teammate Liam Lawson. If this is what the only rookie on the
Which,
grid can
first of
do
all,
for
is not
race
really
one,
that hard to do.
poor Liam. Liam. We gotta give him some slack. He's had some really hard times. But it is very impressive on Arvid's aspect where we're saying that if this is what the only rookie can do during the first race, the rest of the season is probably going to be a bloodbath. I think it's,
Dude, this boy is about to be cooking.
and then
Honestly so
also,
excited for Lindblad.
let's talk about how this is probably such a green flag for Ford where they're coming in with Red Bull this season. And so having this kind of play out, obviously we did have our situations with Red Bull themselves, but Racing Bulls, overall, if we're talking about V Carb, they're really kind of like coming out to show out that they're a lot more competitive than what people were expecting. So I think that's really, really damn cool.
Yes.
Also, for the fans that probably missed it, I did want to bring up a really cool, kind of cute feature on Arvid's helmet. Um, he had all three flags that represent who he is as a person. So we had the Indian flag, the UK flag, and the Sweden flag on his helmet, which I think is also bringing a really big international fan base over into the Formula One world, where we
Yes.
obviously do already. F1 is worldwide, it's loved by many people, many millions of people. But having that triple representation on a brand new driver's helmet when his debut race, um, I think was very, very sweet. I think that was really, really nice to see, and having the ability to see how involved Arvid's family was also with the showing off of his new car, the showing off of his helmet. I think it's really, really sweet to see, especially because he is so young, to have that extra force behind him, where he
Yeah.
has this huge support system, not just in fans, but in his family overall, which I think, like, coming from a person that's really, really close to her family, I think that's really, really sweet.
No, it
So,
is cool. It's definitely cool to see like three different flags because some
yeah.
drivers really only have like one flag or no
Yeah,
flag. And all three, why not? Show it off.
I know. So if you have the ability, by all means, I think that was just kind of like a cute little Easter egg if you weren't really focused on it.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot of people did catch on that, but I thought that was really, really cool. But all right, enough about Australia. We need to rush over and we need to talk about predictions for our next
For
GP for
Shanghai,
Shanghai. One of the
which
big
is
things.
sorry,
No, it's
which is
okay.
a
It's okay.
sprint weekend.
Yes.
First sprint weekend of the season.
Yes.
Really not a fan of sprint weekends as most drivers
Yeah.
aren't either.
Yeah.
And let's kind of dive into what a sprint weekend is and kind of looks
Yes.
like.
So, okay, if we're talking about a sprint weekend, there are 6 total sprint weekends on the calendar. So, China
Yes.
being the first one, we do have where a sprint race is basically a short race. So, it covers about 100 kilometers, which is about one third of a typical Grand Prix distance, and it should last about 30 minutes. So, the
Should.
length
Keyword should.
should is what the basis of it is. Um, the length has kind of been chosen to encourage a race that is more dynamic rather than strategic. And so, unlike a Grand Prix, there is no mandatory pit stops. It's just, they're not banned by any means. Like, you can have a pit stop if it's needed, but because the race is too short for tire changes, um, like, it's too short for tire changes to be effective, is what it is. So that's what a sprint is overall. Now, if we're going into kind of like a quick little sprint race for dummies, kind of shortened situation. So if we're
Yes.
thinking about an overall Formula One weekend, we typically, right? It's usually run Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not always though. Obviously for us here stateside, we did have the Australian GP was Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes. And then you have Vegas as well, which is
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So, usually it's run Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but for those races that are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, obviously just do the math and go back. So over the 3 days, the F1 cars appear on the track for 5 sessions. So a standard weekend has 3 free practice sessions, which if you're going to look at the abbreviations, it's FP1, FP2, FP3, and they all last about an hour each, followed by another hour for qualifying, right? So this sets the
Yes.
grid for the Grand Prix itself. This is how we see where everyone's starting. But on a sprint weekend, 2 of the practice sessions are deleted and they're replaced. So then we have sprint qualifying. So sprint qualifying sessions replaces FP2 on Fridays. If it was a Thursday start race, it would be on Thursday. And so it kind of sets the grid for the sprint, right? So with Saturday, we
Yes.
see the sprint itself kind of be replaced by FP3 before qualifying. And then the Grand Prix happens as normal on later that day. But because there's limited free practice, running the pressure is on to get the setup right the first time. And so there's also extra
Yup.
points available. on the sprint weekend, which makes it kind of a little bit more intense. So sprint qualifying takes place on Friday, and it's split into 3 stages. So it's SQ1, SQ2, SQ3. And again, it theoretically all should last 30 minutes. So SQ1 lasts about 12 minutes, SQ2 is 10 minutes, SQ3 is 8 minutes, respectively, right? Following the format of qualifying. In SQ1, the slowest 6 drivers are eliminated, and then 6 more are dropped in SQ2, and then that sets up the grid positions from 22 up to 11. And then the 10 remaining drivers heading into SQ3 determine the top 10 grid slots, with the fastest driver starting from the front of the pack for Saturday's sprint race. Um, Also,
Yes.
only the top 8 get points. And so the first driver will get 8 points, last driver will get 1 point, and everything in between. Also, another little fun fact about sprint is that drivers have to use medium tires during SQ1 and SQ2, and then they kind of have to switch off into soft tires for SQ3. So, quick little like
Yep. Which
rundown.
it's just chaotic all around.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
I
rundown
think,
on that breakdown for dummies.
yeah,
I hate sprint weekends. It's absolutely chaotic. It
yeah,
gives the team no leeway.
mm-mm,
It gives them no time to practice, no room for
no,
errors.
no, there is no
It's
room for
basically
errors.
you get one practice and you have to figure it out.
Yeah. So, I personally, I might be on like the less seen fan base because I do genuinely really, really do enjoy sprint weekends. Um, I think it's really cool to see how quickly the teams can kind of like build up on those strategies and kind of have it be more on the flow, on the go type. So we can see who has better communication within their internal teams overall versus
Yup.
kind of having those strategies placed out because of practice. So for me, I'm probably in the lesser of the group of people that are into sprint weekends. But only because I like to see how quick on their toes they can be. We already know that these drivers and these teams are very quick. They're very on the go. They're
Mhm.
very like moving. Um, so sprint is just kind of putting that under a magnifying glass.
Exactly. It's fun because you get more racing, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Um, but if we have, let's go
But
over
yeah.
predictions. So I do, if we're just talking, I'm just
Okay.
talking about sprint right now. I'm just talking about sprint. I would love to see a Ferrari one
Okay.
two, and then having Oscar as our third place for sprint. I don't know
Yes.
who else. I'd love to see Isaac up there. I'd love to see Isaac, right? I'd love to see Isaac up there. I'd love
We'd
to
love to see so
see,
many drivers up there, but
yeah.
obviously,
Yeah. Again, I'm a Checo girly. I would love to see Checo up there getting some extra points because Cadillac did not do that hot during Australia. So if we're talking about wishful
yeah.
thinking, I'm thinking Isaac, I'm thinking Checo, I'm thinking Nico. I'd love to see Nico up there getting some points for his first like the first sprint of this year. But yeah, if we're locking in top 3, I'm going Ferrari 1, 2, Oscar third for sprint.
Okay. Okay. As much as it breaks my heart that Oscar did not get points, I'm saying Ferrari 1 2, and I'm gonna be biased and say Lando P3.
Okay.
But I do think we might see um Lindblad or Hajar up in P3
Yeah.
because they're
Like,
doing really well, and I think they might pull it out. Honestly,
yeah.
as for like for sprint at least.
Yeah, for sprint. I think if we're going overall records for race weekend in total, if we're going based off of final rankings, I'm kind of hoping it's a Ferrari sandwich. Like that's what I want. I'd love to see Lewis P1. I'm going to give it to Kimi because I know George has been pushing really hard, but I'd love to see Kimi in P2 and then
Yeah.
possibly P3 being Charles. Like I'd love to see like a little red sandwich. Um I know like kind of going not so great with what I said earlier about it being a Ferrari 1 2 for sprint. But I do think one of the Mercedes drivers is going to be giving Ferrari hell, and it's not going to be a 1-2 for a race overall.
Yep.
But I do think that the top
No way. I
competition
don't.
is
No.
no. Okay, what's yours?
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, I feel like we're gonna see. Yeah, I would say Ferrari sandwich. I feel like we're gonna see. I'm not. I don't know. Maybe Leclerc, Kimi, Hamilton, and then Russell.
Okay,
But
okay,
I also do think we could see a Ferrari, Mercedes, Mercedes.
yeah,
Because, but I also think it could be a Ferrari one too because high speed
yeah,
corners are a little bit more
yeah,
prominent in China, and Ferrari is
yeah.
bringing the Macarena, the new wing.
Yes, they are
So
bringing
that
that
can switch
back.
things up.
Um,
We don't really know how that's gonna
so
go
if
into play.
we're kind of seeing, just quickly talking and like touching base on the Macarena wing, we do see that this is something that we did see during Bahrain. So we do have the 180 rotating rear wing, which has been lovingly named the Macarena wing. So they're bringing this over into Shanghai. And it is designed to kind of provide a top speed boost of around 5 to 7 kilometers per hour to up to 8 to 10 kilometers per hour on straights. So the way that it works is it kind of rotates almost to a 180 degree to a natural, like a neutral point, right? And it eliminates drag, it reduces downforce on straights. And besides the speed increase, the mechanism is designed to kind of help with energy harvesting, which is going to help a lot with the battery, right? And it's kind of acting as an air brake when it returns to its closed position. So we are seeing that Ferrari does have a potential of gaining over a tenth per lap, which I think that might be the world of a difference when it comes to Shanghai. I think Ferrari's not coming to play. I think they saw how this happened, especially during Australia, that they're just going to bring out all their stops. We might be seeing kind of the end of the Ferrari sandbagging right now too during China. Um,
Yeah.
but I think our two biggest teams as of right now that we're kind of monitoring and seeing how things go, I think is Ferrari and Mercedes. I think Ferrari and Mercedes are the top two. Obviously, we do see McLaren and Red Bull kind of like speeding up, like not just Ferrari
Teetering.
and like McLaren and Red Bull, but we're seeing specifically Lando and Max. Um, because obviously last year how it worked out, we do see that the
Yeah.
top competitors from last year are doing the very best they can to kind of defeat the odds again. But I am seeing it where right now the very, very large blips on my radar are Ferrari and Mercedes. Those are the ones that I'm like, okay, though I'm locking that in. So I don't know. I think Ferrari's coming out. They're bringing out all the extra stops with their Macarena wing. McLaren has also been talking about their battery clipping. So it's already kind of predicting where Zach Brown is predicting that the long straights in China are going to cause the battery clipping, which, if you don't know, that means that you're running out of the electrical boost, which could overall lead to some like sitting duck overtakes, kind of like what we saw with Liam Lawson at the beginning of Australia, where he kind of like stalls out. Um, so who knows? Maybe McLaren isn't going to do too hot. And Red Bull will be the ones that come up
Right.
in third with that position. So it's just more so a matter of seeing how things play out.
Yep. It's gonna be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know what to expect. Expect the unexpected as always.
Hmm.
But yeah, with that being said, that kind of wraps up our debrief on the Australian Grand Prix. Next, we
Hmm.
head to Shanghai, China for sprint and race weekend,
Yep.
which very early morning, so we might as well get some rest now.
Yeah. Start sleeping.
Yep.
Probably gonna go and dig through some meditation tactics because I don't think my heart rate was less than 110 beats per minute this entire weekend. So I need to figure out something because if not, I'm
Oh
gonna have
my
a
god.
stroke, and that is not something we want. Because then I'm also DNFing on
No
the race.
way, it is not. But as always, Yes.
Subscribe to everything we got. Subscribe over, obviously,
Oh
to our YouTube
gosh,
channel.
please
Subscribe
don't.
to our Twitter. Subscribe to our Instagram. Subscribe to our TikTok. We are probably going to be doing a lot more videos like this. So look forward into our debriefing of Shanghai after race weekend. And then we will get you guys caught up and up to speed for
Yes.
our next race after that, which is Japan. So
Yep. All
exciting
right, guys.
times.
We'll see you in a few days in Shanghai. Bye.
Bye.